I'm the best, as you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, you know I go. If I touch it, then it's cold. I'm the best, as you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, you know I go. If I touch it, then it's cold. For the break and they know I'm in prison. He wanna talk, but he not on the schedule. I ain't taking no from my who ain't heavy. I'm the best, and you heard what I said. Spend all the money, I'm dripping, it's spouting. Got on it, then it's dripping like water. Teaching, but I don't have a daughter. I know me, I can pick up when I call her. Working big, and it don't hurt to break, cause I'ma always do it how I wanna do it. Every time he leave the know he missed the know I got him running to it. I'ma need to pull the mail before we talk it that I'm waking up and thumbing through it. Running like a runner do it. Stun on her till like a stunner do it. I'm the best, as you know. And I got it, and I got it. Get my way up, you know I go. If I touch it, then it's cold. I'm the best, as you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, you know I go. If I touch it, then it's cold. Top dog like I vanished. I'm the really damaged. I came out and make the shit froze. I'm really who the piano chose. Put my name up like a banner bow. Acting tough and I'ma let her go. Name her who got a better flow. She can hang it up till like a telephone. Sticking up with the cost 10K to let it come see it. Hands up, yeah, make it come treat it. Spin, make it come beat it. I want the new in the machine out. Jewelry be caught like the temperature zero. I'm the boys, they call me the hero. Heavenly, then they know what I be on. I'm the best, as you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, you know I go. If I touch it, then it's cold. I'm the best, as you know. And I got it, and I got it on my own. Get my way up, you know I go. If I touch it, then it's cold.
You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. Yeah, I jump out the booth. Then I might hop through the roof. Got on the ring, stuff. My team is the truth. But they some lions to you. And they never sing, huh? But they always shoot. And all of their diamonds are new. And that's why I'm here with villain. Cause I really get it. And I need all my honeys in blue. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. Make a choice. I need 100 pack for my boys. Deep be hating and talking and hating. I bet you I kill the noise. I've been a man like I'm paying. I boost up my rating. You know how I play with toys. Pop out on any occasion, get standing ovations. They can't help it but rejoice. They all wanna follow me. Cause I got my foot on the opposition neck and ain't no apologies. 100 yards, you know I own all the property. Daddy's home, you know I own all the property. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. You like the top or you just like to lose. Make a move. Been at the bottom, I got the proof. You gotta choose. You gotta choose. You gotta choose. You gotta choose. You gotta choose.
Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. This ain't rap music, this straight literature. Small-minded, all your ideas miniature. They tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. I ain't going nowhere, 20-year career minimum. Call Hit Boy for beats, ask for 10 of them. I don't follow trends, I swing the pendulum. If the bag good, I'm gonna give her some. Let's reflect times, I try to collect minds from complex rhymes. And by the way, shout out Tech 9. Go and shut the up, just let me talk. I'm a time bomb that's waiting to go off. Quite nuclear, amazing with fame name could do to you. Too peculiar, although I'm truly a Renaissance starter. My mind divine, it take me a lot farther. Growing up, I really had beef with my father, but why bother explaining my feelings? Try harder, but either way they gon' paint you the villain. 8 months with no phone, dog, we aiming for brilliance. High level maintaining the building, we making a killing. Alright, my flow sinister. This ain't rap music, this straight literature. Small-minded, all your ideas miniature. They tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. A wise man told me that silence never betrayed them. Keep your mouth shut, cause gon' ultimatum. Stupid situations, the tongue often creates them. The motor mouth is usually causing mayhem.
Little tongue flow sinister, I'ma finish him. Many men gon' need ministers, I ain't meaning them. Enemies, I'm the enema. I'ma hit on them, just like my keys drop my on a dinner work. My thoughts I keep confidential, it's consequential. Philosophies unidentical, I'm not in here. My Siamese brother Benjamin, that's how I stick to him. These diamond bees, all BBs, I call them biblical. Skating underneath a bridge, stay hustling as it is. Make money, feed the kids, ain't nothing in the fridge. Wake up, repeat the sins, I need a 10, stay muddy to the lid, 800, eat it.
Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. This ain't rap music, this straight literature. Small-minded, all your ideas miniature. They tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. I ain't going nowhere, 20-year career minimum. Call Hit Boy for beats, ask for 10 of them. I don't follow trends, I swing the pendulum. If the bag good, I'm gonna give her some. Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. Never lied in my rhymes, you can go ask Jennifer, that's my mom's name. I create and find change, my mind frame ensures that forever I'll reign.
Why would I ever have to cop a chain again when the QB chain birthed most of chains in the game? No post office, we stamping time. Took a slice out of the big apple, made apple pies, family size. Leather bombers and Nike Sacai's. Dangerous corners, you better pray that tomorrow arrives. Rap Sugar Ray Robinson, nothing sweet. Y'all too out of shape to even box with me. Heavyweight, I know my way around the ring. Just like Shorty know a way around the storm. Making hits with Hit Boy, all he gotta do is hit record. Record breaking news, had to show up just to fill a void. Confused, spoiler, boy,
Ja, het interview. Oeh. You want me to iron that? It'll be after my draft. I mean, either one of somebody has to iron that. Well, let me see what it looks like as you steam it, and if it still looks bad, I'll iron it. But I would never let you walk out of the house looking like that. Right, just make sure you remember that. Like, don't be like me. But I mean, like, my whole shit feels on fire. My eyes, I want to pluck them out.
Really out for blood this time, look. I just came back for the win. Lot of new money in my hand. Gonna tell a friend. They say success is the best revenge. Heard they were sleeping again, say it no more. This is a rude awakening, kicking the door. Back and I'm better than ever before.
still think got options. I keep it right on the dresser next to the Oscar. Applying pressure, somebody stop us. Woo! Applying pressure, somebody stop us. Running my concert, go need a doctor, go need a doctor, go need a what? I just came back for the win. Lot of new money in my head. Go on, tell a friend, tell a friend. They say success is the best revenge. I just came back for the win. Lot of new money in my head. Go on, tell a friend, tell a friend. They say success is the best revenge. So now they on my body, made it to the top. Ain't no way that they can stop me now. They gon' say I joined the Illuminati. I got demons all around me, tell me what they know about me. I just came back for the win. Lot of new money in my head. Go on, tell a friend, tell a friend. They say success is the best revenge. I just came back for the win. Lot of new money in my head. Go on, tell a friend, tell a friend. They say success is the best revenge.
I really can't believe the answer to their problems was, in their mind, let's get another one.
Who could be against me? I guess all the that's against me. They the ones
And he it's gotta be like the girls, because when he talks to them, he be so pissed. Shut up! Fuck!
scores hitting switch. It's not a conflict of interest.
With the business, West Coast rocking them Timberlands, deep up in them trenches.
Oh, it's much better. Okay, and then turn around.
Play games, no swinging for them fences.
Try to get this, if you can. Can you? A little bit more? But if not, it's still good. It's not as good. Okay. Okay. No, yeah. I get it. I'm laughing at myself. A little bit, yes. Oh, man. I'm gonna tell you Gigi Ma on you. So I'm gonna tell Gigi Ma on you.
If God for me, who could be against me? I guess all of that's against me. They the ones stirring up the conflict. They try to make it out like I'm conflicted.
Still trying to the riches.
East Coast and 6-4s hitting switch. It's not a conflict of interest.
With the business, West Coast rocking them Timberlands.
What's it again?
Trenches. It's no different. Fourth and inches. I'm finna hit a lick and handle business. I got her down. She real vicious. Rockabye, baby. No witness. This is
Oh, you asked if there was food in the house.
got the same way in Brooklyn and Compton. With that gang, they make a profit. Stay poppin'. Look, see, I was the high school slick, bring out a style, fat gold chain with an African medallion. Hip hop connoisseur and rolling 20 gripping. Rap game real tight, freestyle was magnificent. All about the clout and all about my dividends. The motor couldn't tell me different. I need a runaway girl to live with. Showtime at the Apollo. I'm about the bottom. Take two.
On your wire?
For my who won't live.
Not pleading well?
If God for me, who could be against me? I guess all of that's against me. They the ones stirring up the conflict. They try to make it out like I'm conflicted.
She's mad at your mom, and your mom gonna get mad at you.
Take off the foo-foo, take off the cloud chase, take off the Wi-Fi, take off the money phone, take off the car loan, take off the flex and the white loss, take off the weird jewelry, I'm gonna take 10 steps, then I'm taking off top 5, take off the fabricated streams and the microwave memes, it's a real world outside, take off your idols, take off the runway, take off the Cairo, take off the Sandro, pay 5 days stay, take off for the meal, hella final, take off the car flag, take off the cell phone, take off the iPad, Take off the allure, take off the unsure, take off the solutions I lack. Take off the fake deep, take off the fake woke, take off the I'm broke, I care. Take off the gossip, take off the new logic that if I'm rich, I'm real. Take off the shit mill, take off the doje, take off the Birkin bag. Take all that designer off and what do you have?
Alright, go find the lip brush. I don't know, it's in the house somewhere. Don't wait till tomorrow to try to find it.
All my descendants, they come in my sleep and say I am too real. I'm done with the sensitive, taking it personal, done with the black and the white, the wrong and the right. You hoping for change and miracles, I know the feelings that came with burial cries. You ugly, you out of pocket. 2 ATMs, you stepping to what? You out of pocket. Who you think they talk about us? You out of pocket. Who you think they carry out for us? Serving up a look, dancing in a drought. Hello to the big step, but never lose a count. Venting in the safe house. Venting in the safe. Can I fit up my truth? I got nothing to lose. I got problems and fools. I can swim with my fate. Cameras moving whenever I'm moving. The family suing whatever I make. Murder is stacking. The president acting. The government taxing. My funds in the bank. Homies ejecting. The people ain't wrecking. Look at my reaction. My pupils on skates. Hold up. Let's think about this for a second. Tell me what you would do for a steady. When you show your show, no credit. When you show your bro for leverage. What a hypocrite said. What community feel they the only ones relevant? What a hypocrite said. What community feel they the only ones relevant? You out of pocket, you out of pocket. You entertain the mediocre, need to stop it. You entertaining old friends, but they toxic. What your life like? You gossip. What the fuck is council culture, dog? Say what I want about you. I'm like overdog. I treat you like I'm Jigga. Watch I own it all. Oh, you worry about a critic? That ain't protocol. Lights, cam, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's a many given Sunday magic. Lights, cam, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's a many given Sunday magic. Round of applause and you go, that's it. Then it's a bomb with a flick on my wrist. Jersey on my chest, it's a team that I rep. Came in as a rookie, now I'm balling like a vet. If you talking crazy, better say it with your chest. Hit him with the right, then I hit him with the left. Ooh, ooh. Then the juke move, Heisman, stiff arm, lights out, you snooze. Lights, cam, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's a minute, give it Sunday magic. Lights, cam, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's a many given Sunday magic. This is not a game, this is not a game. Banging on your chest when I come through the pain. Never been about the money or the fame. But when it bring both, so here we go again. Wins on the road, yeah, I got those. Couple records that I hold, yeah, I got those. It's a playoff, the team just got home. We ain't going outside when it matter most. Lights, came, prime time action.
What?
Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's a many given Sunday magic. Lights, came, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the plays, John Madden. It's a many given Sunday magic.
taking it there. Hop in the Wraith and we lay in the stars. I made it happen, the boss, yeah. I was just playing my cards. I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there. It's gonna be a riot, that moves quiet. I got the can of gas, I'm about to ignite. I am driven, I won't ever get tired. Cause I've been left behind, I have to get right. Waiting on the side, now I just wait on myself. Got nothing weighing on the mind. One thing I learned after all this time, the mountain you carry meant for you to climb. All this time, I'm on the grind. Oh, I'm shining, nothing can stop me. All these years, blood, sweat, and tears. But I'm still here, nothing can stop me. Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me. Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me. I'm Gonzo. Got your best friend hanging out the arm though. Got game like I'm giving me a console. No, I don't swim, but I give a nah flex. While you there looking the best, feel the get up in your chest. While I soak up my success, getting tokens for your stress. I'll be making all the checks anytime you see me step on a stage. Acting real soft, like my skin coming beige. Gonna step out and with him, girl, you fake. Try to get it out, but you dance on. You ain't dance on. Tell your boyfriend, go and put your pants on. Damn. The best friend, she went and did the same thing. I'm really mad, but she won't know. Everything has gotta be cool when we living so cold. Feel it in your bones. You ain't gonna feel it till I'm gone. Caught up in your feelings, now you froze. And everything around you getting cold. The chill is in my bones. Caught up in my feelings, now I'm froze. I don't really feel it till you gone. And everything around me getting I'm Gonzo, headed where the homie live, cause it's on yo. I was chasing 3 women like I'm Mojo Jojo, so my girl got mad and she my bro, Monica, you're wrong though. That's against a bro code, headed to his home though. No, we living solo, vertebrae, I just broke into his place. This shit in space, yeah, from then I say it's evidence. You entertain my loyalty, did you portray the only woman that I claim to risk your life to get some strange. All my anger is your pain, you didn't know that I'm a saint. I will blow your up, then I again. Gone, feel it in your bones. You ain't gonna feel it till I'm gone. Caught up in your feelings, now you froze. And everything around you getting cold. The chill is in my bones. Caught up in my feelings, now I'm froze. I don't really feel it till you gone. And everything around me getting cold.
Damn, Richie.
My God, oh God, this is on a God level. The sun, the sky, you can see the vibe. We ride the high, always on a high level. So open up your eyes better. Why these down me? You can join the journey, you is worthy. Just allow me, no. Kicking down your door. Bloodsuckers that see this industry is filled with shit. People that pretend to be something that they will never be. Oh my, I just need some little old peace of mind. The sons of kings, the ghouls, the gods. The moon, the light, the fools, the fire. God, oh God, this is Son of God level. The sun, the sky, you can see the vibe. We ride the high, always on a high level. So open up your eyes, baby. I can never be controlled. Let them know. 500 helicopter driving me gonzo. But they want you just to envy. Let them see it. I'm the first to say it, now it's time you just believe it. I got too many fakes, made lots of foes. These people cold. Talk down your dreams because they know they can't come close. Don't shake no hands, those still your friends. I walk alone. I see false idols, other titles. You need to grow. Have you lost your mind? But I ain't like the others no more. God, I'm learning lessons as I go. You're only wasting time. Tell the devil there's a door. Praying God is only trying to touch me for the glory. My God, oh God, this is Son of God level. The sun, the sky, you can see the vibe. We ride the high, always on a high level. So open up your eyes, baby. I just scraped it off the top, cut it out the road, out the curve, out the block. I was already sold, out of work by 10 o'clock. Too deep in the streets, felt that pain, but it meant a lot. Whenever she calls, know what I gotta do. I'm moving with it too. I paid it out of full.
What? Okay.
Yeah, tell me what I gotta do. Pull up in a bucket crew, one for me and one for you. Yeah, like with the roof. The chain don't cut me loose. Yeah, I'm off the chain, I'm off the noose. Yeah, getting picked off Bentley white like cotton. Residential so good, my doors don't gotta lock 'em. Watch the dirty money with Oxy. I miscount cause I'm off a. Yeah, these bigger than a damn proxy. Call my he said copy. Get that plug like a boogie. I like riches, hit like nookies. You ain't scared of no, but you scared to put on your hoodie. Man, my like Woody.
I just scraped it off the top, cut it out the road, out the curve, out the block. I was already sold, out of work by 10 o'clock. Too deep in the streets, felt that pain, but it meant a lot. Whenever she calls, know what I gotta do. I'm moving with it too. I paid it out of full.
New toys, convoys, 100 carats on my neck, my boy. That 100 bunny rabbits tryna get my boy. From the cabbage I collect, my boy. Heard you is gorillas, let me check, my boy. Say nothing silly, you regret, my boy. Cause we got banana on the my boy. And I can send it in a text, my boy. Thumbs up or the emoji with the flex, my boy. Personalize every threat, my boy. Toll free, that's direct, my boy. And if you need a couple, I'm to connect, my boy, off the top.
I just scraped it off the top, cut it out the road, out the curve, out the block. I was already sold, out of work by 10 o'clock. Too deep in the streets, felt that pain, but it meant a lot. Whenever she calls, know what I gotta do. I'm moving with it too. I paid it out of full.
First off, let me talk my. Got a couple things I gotta cross off my list. How you insomniac for sleeping on my. It's a bad soundtrack, read the script. Born in the motherland, headed straight down to the south. Tennessee mornings with pops, working 3 jobs. I knew that they struggled to get it, that's why I wanted to get it. That embedded, you get it, treat it like a love. And I'ma need commission for this hit. Last laid the canvas and I painted over it. I don't need a vision board to show you I'm the. I'm betting on myself. Count the chips, got it. Made some choices for a profit. That's my logic. I'ma take it to the coffin. Just being honest. Try to sink my ship like Titanic and leave me for Jack. Hope I be panicking, but I rose to the top. Isn't it funny that the it's built like a Maserati, overfolding like origami? What? I walk the walk, I talk the talk, I be saying what I want. When I had no deposit, closet was looking real bare. Now I made a deposit, my closet's looking super rare. Drove it really far. Crazy how did this happen, wishing on a star. It's a celebration, I ain't talking Mardi Gras. With a little patience, you'll be eating Budokan. What you want? What you want? Made some choices for a profit. That's my logic. I'ma take it to the coffin. Just being honest. Never let a manufacture stack like that. And if you getting toxic, tell the boy fall back. If it was back then, I'd be tripping off that. Took a little time just to get me on track. I went from snotty to snobby, got it like immune to everybody. This is stunt 101. Up in the club, throwing the 50s like hated the love it, I just can't get enough. Labels from calling me, I said move if you call me please, or don't even bother me. They said oh my apology, they keep calling and calling. I keep stalling and stalling. Rookie of the year, my career snowballing. Got it. Made some choices for a profit. That's my logic. I'ma take it to the coffin. Just being honest.
Hold me, they cannot hold me, yeah. Slowly, ain't no more taking it slowly, yeah. Holy, you're dealing with something that's holy, yeah. Hold me, I need somebody to hold me. Something done woke up in me. I've been going crazy, I've been doing my thing. They not ready for me, y'all been playing with me. No time for the silly games, 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 games. Damn, it really must be so intimidating. But I gotta be great, that's the God up in me. Whoa, yeah. Hold me, they cannot hold me, yeah. Slowly, ain't no more taking it slowly, yeah. Holy, you're dealing with something that's holy, yeah. Hold me, I need somebody to hold me. I'm still cooking out the basement, and this game needs some saving. And I'm ready for the action, cause I'm tired of the acting. What happened to being great? What happened to being fashionably late? What happened to rocky shows? What happened to spin flows? Been wearing the cons and the pros. Feel like I'm the only pro. If we gon' go, then go. We can take it toe to toe. I've been doing everything you've been doing, but I'm really doing more. I'm about to explode. You gon' need someone to hold. Hold me, they cannot hold me, yeah. Slowly, ain't no more taking it slowly, yeah. Holy, you're dealing with something that's holy, yeah. Hold me, I need somebody to hold me. Nothing's for certain, but this I know. Life is but moments that come and go. Tomorrow may never come, but the memories live on. need your eyes on me. Once I get my feet in this end zone, no one can STOP. Here to make a scene like a movie, feeling big, keep it juicy before we start getting unruly. I've been moving like a hoolie, keep it goody, boy. I stuff you in a locker like a bully. Like a bully in the work. You can see my fingernail dirt. I'm the last one to leave, even when I come first. And you might want it bad, but I'm sure when it works, I'ma do it 'cause I love it. I'ma love it till it hurts. What's the worst that can happen, Captain? I'm strapped in. No, I'm not crazy, I'm just tapped in. Hungry like a bastard, I'm about that action, no slacking. Well, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Sick of the pain. No one to call up for help. No one to blame but yourself. You should have known better, however you did it, so we had to come ring your bell. Like a needle war, get it till I score, make it rain till it pour. I'm a dog on board, put it work like a chore till I'm underneath the floor. In the trenches like a war, and they wanna give it more when I touch down. Touchdown, touchdown. Whenever I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Whenever I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Whenever I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Fourth down, 4 yards, put it all on the line. I am not worried 'cause it is our time. I hear the crowd in the background, man, they just wanna see me shine. For the hell of it, it's irrelevant. You lacking the intelligence to make it make sense. We gon' manifest whatever we can to get. That's a little money and a trophy and nothing they gon' respect. We don't care who the best, we don't worry who was next. We gon' put the boys to rest like a 10 feet of bed. I'm ahead of the rest like I came without a net. They gon' say it under breath, I'ma say it with my chest. I got it wrapped like a toga, put the whole team on my shoulders. Hold up, wake these boys up, call me soldier, soldier. Flow feeling colder, some call it polar. You don't wanna box me, I'm feeling cocky. Hands stocky, even floppy, face Nazi, talking on Aki. Think he deep poppy, then I'll chop him down like a Rati. I see none of you here can stop me. It's obvious, sloppy, cheap copy. I'm rocky, leave his eyes all glossy, but in the end zone is where you can spot when I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Whenever I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Whenever I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Whenever I touch down, touchdown, touchdown. Got so many memories that I made on Cascade Road. I done gained the world, I ain't never sell my soul. This is God given, so I thank him as I go. Hate to sound conceited, but I know. Crazy thing they with me. Yeah, crazy thing they with me. Run up on me, baby, show you gon' see. Yeah, God power from my head and my feet. Yeah, this colossal. What I say is gospel. I cook this with love, they gon' eat it up and swallow. Eat. I'm from the ghetto, hey. Seen bodies in the street, so I could cheat. I came from nothing. I turned a mustard seed into a million. In the discussion, had a TED talk with the higher me, show me how to run it up. I need all my cheese. Every day that I wake up, I'm pinching myself. Can't believe that I'm really me. Popping shows in New Zealand, boy, you is not eating, man. We do not play in the same league. I gave my mama some racks and she asked me if I'm selling. I said, mama, please. If I was, do you think I'd let you know? Got so many memories that I made on Cascade Road. This is God given, so I thank her as I go. This gon' sound conceited, but I know. Crazy thing that win me. Yeah, crazy thing that win me. Yeah, God power from my head to my feet. Yeah, run up on me, baby, so you gon' see. Yeah. I did not chase, I just attract. What you put in, you get back. I'm screaming Campbell, then still hit the dance in them. Wherever I'm at, feel like a champion, mamba mentality. I'm in the masterpiece, life is the crap. These love me and I can't resist it, but I'm only guilty of slipping too fast. Life is by legacy, what lies ahead of me, helping to get peace with this past. Little bitty regular that I pack, 007 before you react. Don't think twice, my only advice for my granddad before he passed. Look to the stars, look at the sky at night. Tell me that heaven ain't black on everything I love. Try not to brag till you bring it up. Tunnel vision, block opinions, and I could give but think of us. Duck, jab, hooks in it through the roof with an uppercut. Tell the truth, shut the devil up. In the booth, I'm untouchable. Crazy thing they with me. Yeah, crazy thing they with me. Run up on me, baby, so you gon' see. Yeah, God power from my head and my feet. Father who art in heaven, I love when you toss me blessings. You never throw interceptions, I catch them like O.D. Beckham. Halting up the devil when built like Tiana Teller and balling at 27. I feel like Iman Shumpert. Know there's a disconnect when the sheep start to lead the shepherd. The weak start to be aggressive, the streets start to be the reverend. Bragging about first class, seated on 9/11. They spirits are not united, a legion, my soul forever. I murder my adolescence assault with a friendly weapon. I verbally dissect them to help them get back together. Wanting the stranger things, I handle it like 11. My point is I guard the kids. I should play for the Celtics. Watch how I Euro step them and curry them like I'm stepping whenever I'm in your town. The warriors in your presence. I manifest my endeavors. I'm blessed and I'm getting better. I walk amongst living legends. Coach Contra will live forever.
Can people just go dig up graves?
New goals, baby boo. Got my wrist in these grits, tryna whip something new. I am sick of this rabbit. So are you. Hold on, switch. Mama, I'm gonna introduce my ego. Since the world full of villains, let's introduce the heroes. We the good guys, no blood on our hands. Tito, she is back. Finna, guaranteed. Back, type of views that on the globe. It's a visionary peeking out the window of my soul. Might just fall back, lend a helping hand and play my role. You ain't all that, all in the mirror over soul. Call me Reason A, aka Malcolm XL. That's a big pun, bigger punishment. I give him hell, getting done. Keep it blunt enough, you can't cough drop. Tell them hard for their health.
Al fin han encontrado el negrito con los colorados, el mejor desde Colombia a los estados. Para los que no piensan que yo soy mejor, tengo todos tus raperos favoritos paniqueados, ten cuidado. Estos raperos son mis hijos jautados. Acuérdate que ni hizo el sonido que te ha gustado. Pídeme permiso when you copy my style. This bridge, I done burnt them all with a freestyle. Black on both sides de Colombia, oye peep style. Como yo lo hago, ain't nobody funny do it now. Up to uptown, all the way down through the south. No, ain't not yet, que pueda conmigo. Yo soy mi testigo, I'm the one that shut it down. Just a light from a vision that I had in the dark. Tunnel vision on the bigger picture. The trust, wanna play the game, but don't never play their part.
It's another one. We got another one. It's her. Who that? Big baby slide through in that drop top. Something by Benz looking cute. That's honest. Her and her friends, big blinks and snatch waist. Yeah, she brought the. Ain't no way somebody daddy ain't gon' give her the spins with her ends. Cause yeah, she did it. She did it again. A few more tracks and this time she bought friends. Big baby on her way up and showed the stairs to a man's. Now salute the general. TGLX got plans, yeah. Damn, it's the intro? Yes, it's the intro. Damn, this is the intro? Yes, it's the intro.
They don't know what they in for. If we coming like this on the intro, what they here for? If they want the heat, you know who to send for your info. Buy my money like Venmo. This music don't work out. And all to get it from my ends low. How you feel though? Cause they can't rock with us. Galaxy ain't no stopping us. I ain't tryna steal my style. I'm feeling like I just shot for them. Can't trust them cause they not my. Cause we worried about getting figures. All my ain't falling figures. Just know my quit the pop it.
Damn, it's the intro? Yes, it's the intro. Damn, this is the intro? Yes, it's the intro. Damn, it's the intro? Yes, it's the intro. Damn, this is the intro? Yes, it's the intro.
Yeah, my day ones here to dance it up again. So you know it's only right, that's how we eat. Came all the way from losing to winning. Yeah, I did it. But it ain't just me, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. But when you riding like we riding with each other, ain't no I in this. It's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. But when you riding like we riding with each other, ain't no I in this. Tell them line it up like a 4-1. We sneaky when we slide. Y'all on offense with no defense. Now y'all tired get it. But it ain't just me, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Know when you riding like we riding with each other. Ain't no hiding. It's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Know when you riding like we riding with each other. Ain't no hiding. See, we came up from the bottom, me and squad got it. And we made it through them problems, now it's God's body. We eat, sleep, breathe this, wave till they see sick. Do it right the first time, they all try to remix. Yeah, they grinded, but we grinded it. Tell them they time is ticking, but we time a fish. Bet not leave a minute, stop. Something like the goat off in that pocket. Whole squizzy riding with me, we gon' stop it. My day ones headed down to the beginning. So you know it's only right, that's how we end. Came all the way from losing to win. Yeah, I did. But it ain't just me, it's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Know when you riding like we riding with each other. Ain't no hiding. It's the whole team. Share it with the whole team. Congratulate the whole team. Know when you riding like we riding with each other. Ain't no hiding.
It's more than a game, don't play with my name. You come with your goons, I'm bringing my game. More than that talking, just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. You hear the crowd, they screaming my name. I got the stadium going insane. Done with the talking, it ain't no discussion. You started, I finished, put me in the game. Put me in the game. Yeah. Put me in the game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. Hey, coach. Put me in the game. They put me in, so I'm going in. You play for fun, I'm playing to win. Back on the wall, I'm ready for war. If I beat them before, I could beat them again. They thought I was done, I went on a run and beat all the odds and got even again. Watch what you say, I'm not one of them. When I jump in my bag, I could jump out the gym. Take a look at my legacy, I gotta let them see I'm out here winning, cause I'm on a mission. Put me in the game, cause the way I'm feeling, I honestly do not see no competition. I gotta get it, so it ain't no quitting. We jumped off the benches and jumped in the trenches. No one is better than all of us, and that's why all of us been winning from the beginning. It's more than a game, don't play with my name. You come with your goons, I'm bringing my game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. You hear the crowd, they screaming my name. I got the stadium going insane. Done with the talking, it ain't no discussion. You started, I finished, put me in the game. Put me in the game. Yeah. Put me in the game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. Hey, coach. Put me in the game. I'm bringing my game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. You hear the crowd, they screaming my name. I got the stadium going insane. Done with the talking, it ain't no discussion. You started, I finished, put me in the game. Put me in the game. Yeah. Put me in the game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. Hey, coach, put me in the game. You see, it's two type of people in life. It's people that wake up and wish they had it. And it's people that wake up and go get it. We go get it, baby. Photo poor, so photogenic. All I know is to go get it. Shoot my shot, now I ain't gon' miss it. All I know is to go get it. All my life I've been a go-getter. All I know is to go get it. Wake up in the morning, kiss my son, and go get it. Go
go get it. Go get it. Photo porso, photogenic. All my life I've been a go get up. Wake up in the morning, kiss my son, and go get it. Top floor, top dog, like I just signed a TDE. Gang, gang, gang. Know we all gotta eat. Up late, bills due, rent due, I ain't been asleep. Looking in the mirror, all I see is everything that I wanted to be. My city depended on me, that's on G.O.D. Grew up watching my mom become what daddy couldn't be. I ball like MLB, these Bottega boots ain't cheap. My car ain't got no key, I push the start to start my week. I'm in this photo, porso, photogenic. All I know is to go get it. Shoot my shot, now I ain't gon' miss it. All I know is to go get it. All my life I've been a go get up. All I know is to go get it. Wake up in the morning, kiss my son, and go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Photo, porso, photogenic. All my life I've been a go get up. Wake up in the morning, kiss my son, and go get it. Photo, porso, photogenic. All I know is to go get it. Shoot my shot, now I ain't gon' miss it. All I know is to go get it. All my life I've been a go get up. All I know is to go get it. Wake up in the morning, kiss my son, then go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Photo, porso, photogenic. All my life I've been a go get up. Wake up in the morning, kiss my son, then go get it.
My Brooklyn, cause he Chirac, Southside, C12, 911, grr to the Yassi, we still outside. Mine on the richest, heart in the trenches. You can't throw dirt on the underground, we thrive in it. Ghana boy stocks on the rise, Charlie, this flex know they ready. See, we were not to ride nobody way, we're the ones who started with it. Translation, Yani had to buy, Yani had Yana hits. This goes so hard, even the ops go with it, That's how you know we're lit. Grr,
taking no loss. We be the hottest on the scene. Gemstones from the dust. Big dog with your leash. Where's the love in the streets? Pour my heart on the beat. See the blood on my sheets. Yeah, when we ready, me hit it heavy. I zoom out the pride of my people already. Them I see Ellie. Me, I'm just sharing my journey. I'm thankful the people they hear me. Tribe of Joseph, I'm ahead of the bunch. P5, I was starving for months. A running cutscene, but on my pockets, me need my DNA. And baby for lunch, but pick on me and start before BBC. Don't take a lot to get rid of me. Me and them don't get the same. Me and them don't get the same. Why that they gonna know who the name is? They say I move like I'm nameless. Cause I only come for the money bags and I don't really want to be famous.
We going crazy, we at the top and we never gon' stop. Hop in the ghost, I'ma get swayzy. I just got off of the jet and I cry. My I win it, alhamdulillah. I be on go cause I come from the shot. I'm shooting back, I ain't ducking no shots. Got power like Samson, I cut off the locks. Chirac, Timmer, in the cut like I'm Fredo Santana. Uju Banton, I hop in the Bama, the world is mine. I'm Tony Montana, I'm Pelican Fly. Diamonds on me cause I'm rapping a rock. I'ma go hard, I ain't killing them soft. I'm up in the hills, I feel like I'm Lauren, you ready or not? I like who got businesses, I'm CEO of mine. 1980 Prezi Rolly, we been working overtime. The witness, the police, the pigs, I don't eat swine. Son of Jacob, this biblical, my flow, the holy God. Save money ground up in the gutter where they found us. Stones in the faint mouth rush. More vacays, more bucks, more race, more foreign trucks, more on a tour bus, more
pour a cup. Toast to the winners, throw it up.
What you waiting for? Are you ready? Okay, say no more. Tell the chauffeur to open Mercedes door. Put the pedal to metal and made it sore. She was, but I made it sure it was. So we stayed indoors. Let's take it where no one has been before. It feel like I've known you some years before, but I don't know. Are you ready? Okay, say no more. Are you ready? Okay, say no more. She's a Lotus and I'm the conductor of a magnum opus. Simply braggadocious. Why don't we take advantage of this moment? And wherever you own, we own it. Mama, I'm on the big screen. I took a big swing out of life. I'm doing big things in my life. I deserve 6 rings like I'm Mike. I got a no sleeve. I remember when it was the nosebleeds. Now they captured the fashion from floor seats. I'm a whole king. Are you ready? Okay, say no more. Are you ready? Okay, say no more. She's a Lotus and I'm the conductor of a magnum opus. Simply braggadocious. Why don't we take advantage of this moment? And wherever you own, we own it. Ooh, it's trouble in paradise. So let's parachute where the air's nice. And let's risk it all on the paradise. But she just wanna make sure her hair's nice. That's fair, right? I just fell in love with a prima donna. The 2023 Madonna. I mean, your honor, I was minding my business until she gave me complete nirvana. Are you ready? Okay, say no more. Are you ready? Okay, say no more. She's a Lotus and I'm the conductor of a magnum opus. Simply braggadocious. Why don't we take advantage of this moment? And wherever you own, we own it. Nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. Yeah. Sound like some superhero. Some black superheroes. Every block, every hood, every city, every ghetto. Need a black superhero. Every block, every hood, every city, every ghetto. Need a black superhero.
You need a bro like me. Military mind stated, and I keep in a degree. You can label me a Huey P. Made a martyr out of Martin, out of Malcolm, out of Mecca. I refuse to let these dirty devils make Michael a beggar. A hero CEO, I will go make hero for my people. Give me liberty or death, that is my credo, not my ego. Dressed in a tuxedo, into party alter ego. Killed your leader, Gazebo, did it for the people. Love what motivated, I did not do it for hatred. But I truly hate the devil, I cannot debate or fake it. I was asked a question and the asker thought it hard. If I was facing death and I could ask one thing of God, I would ask for every to be free here and abroad. And to be rightfully celebrated as a child of God. And to be rightfully celebrated as a child of God.
Need a black superhero. Every block, every hood, every city, every ghetto. Need a black superhero. Our own kind took nip from us. Money still reading God we trust. Truthfully we envy, so why we so envious? And why our own kind envy us? Pac said it's hard, but we gotta keep our head up. And even though we know we fed up, it's hell attention. Cause we ain't careful where we all pay attention. I need all my real soldiers on the front line. Fighting for the right, just one time. So we unstoppable together at the same time. With the same mind, yeah.
I'm talking bulletproof, kind of suit, reflect the struggle that they put us through. With the strength to fight the power like Chuck D do. With the insight to be equal, note the sky needed a voice that finds reason to multiply. People in the streets for the cause, marching on Washington miners will be walking through walls. Type of superhero show up when ain't no one to call. Better shield you from them shields that been killing us all. High beams for eyes to peep the villains in the dark. Power of resolution for a war would even start. The knowledge to build and grow where they live and take care of the kids and the older folk. The clean cause they need it most. Politics with the king about economic growth. Cure PTSD cause mental health ain't a joke. Feed the hungry endo. Everyone would know everywhere we go. Every block, every hood, every city, every ghetto. Need a black superhero. Every block, every hood, every city, every ghetto. Need a black superhero. It's gonna take one of us to save us. It's gonna take love and you gotta trust me. Just to get the faith and know that. Because you stand by, you got your back. It's gonna take one of us to save us. It's gonna take love and you gotta trust me. Just to get the faith and know that. Because you got mine, I got your back. I know. Every block, every hood, every city, every ghetto. Need a black superhero.
She basically died before she even hit the bottom of the stairs. And I think it's interesting now that the bottom of the stairs, but at the same time, it's really
You're in the presence of the realest essence. I've been serving lessons since the days of my adolescence. On the Cyrus block, young buck holding it like we knew it all. Not afraid to do it all. Matter of fact, to look back and do it all. I can remember the haters say the game will ruin y'all. What's that to me? Don't give about a hater. Let them off like a in my paper.
They call me Big Dog, riding with the hillbillies. Cube Bone staying with the licks. Really became a boss many years back when I'm gone. Give me, pull your tears back. We put the bang and bang and produce the juice. You got no chance of hanging. They took the tails when you're flipping the quarter. We ain't slowing down, we crashing through the border.
So let the rhythm hit 'em, just let the rhythm hit 'em. Cause when you feel it in your soul, lift the sound system, let's turn it up. Up, a little louder, turn it up. Up, a little louder, turn it up. We never turn it down, universal sound. When we pump the pound, take a look around. When we touch the town, knock the waves, stomping in my big black J's. Corny, get stuck in the maze. We never suffer fools, had enough of you. False friends and loose ends make me wanna fool. That we got another world tour, touching every shore. From Cali to Singapore.
Every day I'm seeing more in the temple as we rock up tempo instrumentals. I saw my dream in a dream, then I woke up. Put the dream team together, now we know. One time.
So let the rhythm hit 'em, just let the rhythm hit 'em. Cause when you feel it in your soul, lift the sound system, let's turn it up. Up, a little louder, turn it up. Up, a little louder, turn it up.
I can't let that be the end of me. No, probably cause your girl feeling me. It's a flag on the play, all these catching penalties. Look, I don't like your energy. I don't like the fake handshake, snake tendency. Let's go. Don't make me jog your memory. I did upgrade, you didn't upgrade it. The world, how they forgetting me. Please make it make some sense to me. How you talking about the greatest, still ain't mention me. Them bands, I want the symphony. 15 in it, went instantly. Lately I've been catching plays, it's like it's meant to be. I
Got rich in the pandemic, meant to be. Don't do too much, I keep it simple. You cloud chasing, trying to make the people feel you. Boys need to slow it down, I'm talking real screw. Big house at the top with the clear view. Oh, look, I don't like your energy, I don't like that. I don't like the fake handshake, snake tendency. You an enemy. All them lies you telling, I can't let that be the end of me. No, probably cause your girl feeling me. It's a flag on the play, all these catching penalties. Look, I don't like your energy. I don't like the fake handshake, snake tendencies. You not my kind, I know kin to me. Heard you told my girl about all of them that's DMing me. Why they hogging up the recipe? Heard they talking like I can't let Ken Wallace get ahead of me. Know your heart full of jealousy. All that acting tough, damn, this must be a parody. Okay, 1-on-1 ain't no comparing me. Okay, wait, 2-on-2, that's like 4, they be sharing me. Okay, they working like the red dude. Red got them doing, that's what I'm into. Yeah, if I'm in it, then I own it, not a rental. No, I've been plotting on the lamb and the Benz cool. Yeah, I don't like your energy, I don't like that. I don't like the fake handshake, snake tendency. You an enemy. All them lies you telling, I can't let that be the end of me. No, probably cause your girl feeling me. It's a flag on the play, all these catching penalties. Look, I don't like your energy. I don't like the fake handshake, snake tendency. Let's go. Yeah. So that's style now for you, but it's for me. Yeah. Yeah. No wishbone grow where backbone should. Belly been taking the dash on wood. 10 payments, the back ain't good. Got sense, but they act no good. Side through the lot of the starstruck. Hop in the ride and we took in the truck, but in the truck and they all. They might say what's up when they see me around the city, but really no reason to talk much. Dinner a nice guy, but no nice guys here. I'm toe tagging, no Bilbo bagging, y'all coming up short. Take a recess. This a heat check. Yeah, shorty let me quick as a clear with a pre-check. It's lifestyle not for you, but it's for me. Seen it myself for years. The vision is mine alone, just me, myself, no peers. Yeah. I don't know who hyping them boys. I'm done giving life for the noise. I give you my life in the source. I don't even write anymore. Yeah. Get it and drove like it's whipping a stove. That break hard like habits. No days off, no Sabbath. No snakes in my yard, no rabbits. Never let a wishbone grow where backbone should. Belly been taking the dash on wood. 10 payment, the back ain't good. Got sense, but they act no good. Send the same money to Sudan. I could probably take the hood for a year or two. Stuck between stunting in the mirror. For real. That's just for the moment. And outside there, going for me. You see me like you would know it.
This is her defense lawyer? Oh, his defense lawyer?
Because that's clear evidence that Michael had anything to do with Elizabeth Ratliff's death. The mere fact that it comes in evidence will have an impact. So, my view is that if we win the motion tomorrow and keep the Ratliff evidence out, because it's not relevant, this is not a technicality, because it's not relevant and because the state can't show that it's relevant, we will have a very good chance of winning this trial because the rest of the evidence, I think, is pretty minimal. Well, what we've done is we've subpoenaed their witnesses. We've subpoenaed Deborah Radish and some of the other doctors who have done the autopsies. And we want to put them on the stand and force them to do more than just give their bare conclusions. Their reports are very bare bones. What we want to do is we want to get them on the stand and be able to ask them the hard questions that they don't address in their reports to show that the basis of their conclusions is simply flawed. This is the kind of evidence that can really prejudice and taint a trial unfairly. It's the kind of evidence that courts have traditionally said you just don't let in.
In my opinion, the 85 death, if the state tried to introduce evidence of that in the court, it could come in any number of ways for which I will listen to arguments about. Has the state filed a motion to have the court consider Ms. Ratliff's death.
We are not a proponent of that evidence at this point, and will not be until the court actually is involved in this trial and begins hearing evidence of all these matters.
Judge, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you sat there and agreed that this was an issue, particularly Ratliff,
It is
that has to be decided before jury selection for very good reasons.
I'm not aware of any law that the court can direct a state to do that.
No, what the court
I mean, I'm not sure there's North Carolina state law that the court can order the state to do so.
I don't think you can order them to do that. What you can do is say, if you don't file the notice and have the hearing today, you're not going to be allowed to introduce that evidence because it's prejudicial to the defense. Let's just look at this from a practical perspective. If I don't know whether or not that's coming in, I've got to assume it is. And therefore, I'm going to spend lots of time in opening statement talking to the jurors about that, finding out what they think, and talking about the facts and all of that stuff. So now, all of a sudden, Mr. Hardin says, well, Judge, I'm sorry, we're not going to introduce. Now, are you going to instruct the jury to disregard everything that I said in my opening statement? How is that? How are you going to instruct them to disregard what I said and have me maintain my credibility with a jury that is deciding my client's life?
I believe, frankly, it would be ineffective assistance of counsel for you not to deal with it, whether the evidence is admissible or not, because it's out there. The news media spent 3 or 4 days using the same footage of the exhumation down in Texas. It's still going on up until this morning, which raises another question about all of these interviews that Mr. Rudolph likes to give to the media about the evidence.
My clients wanted this trial to proceed for a long time. The DA delayed that exhumation months. Now, 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before trial, he decides to go ahead with an exhumation. And that is simply unfair. He did it intentionally. He did it knowingly. He stands here and talks sanctimoniously about how I'm talking to the press in response to a medical examiner's report.
I knew you were going to bring that.
Yeah, that gratuitously uses the term homicidal attack or assault. And I'm supposed to sit back and allow my client to be prejudiced by that and by this show that he's put together, and just sit back and do nothing.
The court declines, Mr. Rudolph, in its discretion to determine the admissibility of the death of Ms. Ratliff today. In pre-trial, the court in its discretion will rule on its admissibility when proffered by the state of North Carolina as evidence in this particular case.
You know, I subpoenaed all 3 medical examiners and was prepared to cross-examine all of them today. So why is it that it's okay for them to write reports that have conclusions like homicidal assault and yet not have to get up on a witness stand today?
What is his sexual preference?
What is whose sexual preference? Mr. Hardin's.
Mr. Hardin's.
Oh, I don't know what Mr. Hardin's is. Would you really expect it? What's your sexual preference? Come on, come on.
Oh, your guy's on trial. I'm not.
Well, we can change that. I'm not going to answer those kind of questions.
Okay.
You want to sit the lady in the dining room or are you out here? Wherever. Sit down. You Diet Coke. Yeah, out. one of the top, bottom second door. I keep the hot pads and the other stuff on the top. Keep it right underneath the cover with the bloody finger.
There is no doubt in my mind that those two guys knew exactly what was going to happen before that hearing started. I mean, the little speech that Orlando did at the beginning, you know, Harden, it was, you know, he didn't say to Harden, all right, well, you know, what are you talking about? You know, we're here for a hearing. You know, what do you mean you don't think we're going to go forward? I mean, on Monday we sat here for all day talking about whether this hearing should be closed or not. You didn't say anything then.
I just don't understand that. I mean, what's in it for Judge Hudson to cooperate?
You know, there's got to be a political payoff somewhere. I don't know what it is, but there's something in it for him. There's something. Maybe there's a blowjob in it for him. I don't know.
I mean, do you have any doubt that this was collusion?
Struck me as being scripted.
It was just choreographed. It was just completely choreographed.
I've been in front of lots of judges with lots of prosecutors in lots of situations. And I've got to tell you, I have never, ever seen something like that before. Never.
I don't think David, and I don't think Tom, you know, believe me, or anybody from the beginning, but when I said, this isn't Chapel Hill, this isn't Raleigh, this isn't Charlotte, this is Durham. It's unique, it's particular, it's dirty, it's corrupt, it's small. You know, I don't think anybody knows this town better than I do, and that's what I did for years, and I told you guys from the beginning that this is it.
I've had a personal relationship with Orlando for years, and it never got through to me that it could affect him personally in that way.
Yeah, I just find it disgusting. So,
the Ratliff stuff is coming in evidence. The gay stuff is coming in evidence. All right? So we've got to deal with it no matter what.
You can almost turn this into a challenge to the DA. We don't know whether it's coming there or not. So we think it's a joke. But these are the reasons why, if he lets you get into that. If it brings it in, we'll talk about it then. Then when it doesn't come in, you look like a hero. You look like you're real smart. For change. And moral support is great. You know, this is going to be a long and arduous drive. I just want you to... He's only got one. Can you read it? Yeah, I'm sick.
I just want you to understand that he makes these comments, but you're the one who's going to prison.
It's coming in. If it's coming in, and that's a given, and that's an assumption.
It's coming in.
If that's the given, then I agree. You've got to go forward with it.
My presumption right now is that I'm going to take on the Ratliff thing in some way. I'm going to, in some way, present to the jury that it's not fair to try this stuff in the media. It's not fair. It's not our way to dig up bodies 2 weeks before trial so that there's a whole bunch of publicity. That doesn't satisfy anybody's burden of proof. The only way you satisfy a burden of proof is by bringing in the witness.
You have that presumption of innocence and reasonable doubt. They've got to overcome that. The bar on reasonable doubt has been raised significantly now in light of the Ratliff. So it's instead of being there, but you play it safe. Oh, well, they didn't prove this, or there's alternative things. With this coincidence, it's now up to here.
Anyway, all right, I think we're done. You know, this was important for you all to be a part of, so that you know what my thinking is, all right?
I think this is what our thinking was all along.
Okay, all right. In terms of look and dress and having tomorrow, all right, your eyebrows need to be trimmed. You need to be shaved. You need to look neat. You need to look rested. All right. If you need to take a Valiant, take a Valiant, because you know what? You're not going to be needing to do anything other than sort of zone it.
Right, I know that. Well, that's what I was heading back to.
Well, you know what?
Fall asleep.
No.
And also, the other thing is, you know, you're not probably hear some things they're going to be hard to hear. And if somebody says, well, we think he's absolutely guilty, and why aren't we seeking the death penalty?
Why would he lynch him right here, right?
Yeah, you're not going to send them daggers because you don't seem like the kind of person who would do that.
No, and you know, the truth is, if somebody says that, the subliminal message, the body language message needs to be, thank you for being that honest.
The other thing is because of the Ratliff thing, it's very important for Martha and Margaret. I hope
they've got to
be here for the whole trial.
Yeah, I mean, that worked out really nicely.
Because people have said in the open-ended question, one of the reasons they think you might not be guilty or that you have doubts is that he is proclaimed as innocent, his lawyer is fighting saying he's innocent, and his family is sticking by him.
Yeah, we were doing these corporate exercises with the executive staff where you're supposed to tell something personal about yourself. It's team building is what it is. So one guy got up, actually a very good friend of mine, since left the company, but he said, you know, I always wanted to be a lawyer. That was really what I wanted to do. But then I found Jesus, and I realized that being a Christian and being a lawyer are completely incompatible. Yeah. Oh, God. So you mean I have really got to shut my mind off now, basically, for 2 months?
Can't read a book. Can't read a book.
Video games. I mean, you're just supposed to sit there and look.
Don't stare at the jury.
Don't stare at the jury.
Because it looks like you're listening. They'll be looking at you a lot. That's what they have to remember. You know, they are assessing your behavior and conduct. They form opinions about how you behave and feel.
So I'm just saying double. I could sit in a dark, quiet room for 2 months. You know what Goethe used to say, that was a test of a man. That if you could lock a man up in a dark room, with nothing to read, nothing to do, nothing, just his own thoughts. That was Goethe's test of a man. And I thought, well, hell, I can't even do that. I think, no. He needs to rethink that. The real test of a man is to be able to sit there and listen to Jim Harden and Orlando Hudson.
The range is going to go from 39 to 51, 72. 61 to 72. Okay. Those are noted.
And then I'm going to go through a whole long thing about the relationship, and I'm going to take them back to 1988, 1989, and 1992, and 1997. And I'm going to say, and together, they built a family out of the various strands of their prior families. Now, hold on. I don't want to have that bar up there because it's going to distract them from what I'm saying. Can you just keep it black screen until I go to your cube and then pop up with a picture?
Right, you want the picture first, so that they can, yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the black screen. What is that thing in the middle there?
That's just a default bar that doesn't have to show it all.
I don't want it.
I can't get rid of it right now.
Okay, yeah, let's get rid of the bar. Okay, and what I'd like to do is when I
it's just my tone.
When I say together, they built a family out of the various strands of their prior families. Caitlin, wait till
Yeah, I want to get black screen.
that's right, I want to go black screen. You turn it on before I even get up to speed. And go to black screen so we don't have to see that thing again.
Blacker, you mean this? You want that without this?
Can you lose that?
Yes, I can lose it. I can't lose it right now, but I can lose
Okay,
it.
but what I'm saying is,
I'll have. Yeah,
can you
get
just go? Can you lose the whole thing so it's just a black screen and then it goes to the picture and then it goes back?
But it looks like that.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Okay.
And the next picture comes up. When I say together they built a family out of the various strands of their prior families, yeah. No, we're great. Thank you very much. Out of the various strands of their prior families, put it up.
So they have something to look at.
Exactly. We can see that the laceration on the left, the V-shaped one, is consistent with that corner. The last impact that you saw on that.
Got a little situation going on. Got smoking building downstairs. So we may want to wrap it up today. How much longer do you think we're going to be? We may have to do it about 2 weeks. We don't know yet. We have to pound it.
Okay. Well, if we have to evacuate, we're just going to have to do our best, but just let us know. All right? I appreciate it. Okay, thank you. The bottoms of her feet were covered in blood. And how do we know that? There's a photo of it.
You want it right now?
Yes.
Preparing for it?
No. Well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
It's been pointing at the screen while I'm talking, but no reason. Right.
No.
When it's on. And then
this is how it needs to be. It's right there.
I know what I did wrong while I was doing it on the fly before we started this. I know what I did wrong. I made an error when I loaded them in. Right now.
This system sucks because I've done it with Presentation Group and I had none of these problems. None. And I am fucking pissed because it's 7:20 the night before my opening and you're fucking around with this.
One of these documents is apparently out of order. I just don't know. I cannot give you the documents in the order that you want them. All I can do right now is go through them. I guarantee you.
No, I don't want to guarantee.
They will be there.
I want to see it on the screen. So I don't give a shit if we're here all fucking night.
Well, I'm not sure that they will be either. I think so, but I don't know.
This case is no more and no longer about Kathleen. The DA has to win. That's it. He doesn't care how. And basically, but by the same token, my lawyer, they want to win. Truth is lost in all of this now. Truth is of no meaning whatsoever. This has become a show, and it has got its own momentum, and we're just going along. I don't think the DA cares about truth anymore. All he wants to do is win. And I understand that. I mean, sure. In the same way with David. He wants to win. Well, I want to win too, but I'm still very concerned about the reality of what happened that night.
Hey guys. Where's Mike? What's that? Okay, I'll wait. Be nice, be calm. Yeah. You all right? Yeah. Pretty good, how you doing? Yep. Nah, Mark. Okay. You want to get in there? What's that? You want to get there?
Chris, we're going to see if you can beat us upstairs now.
We got a crew on that.
All right, Hart. Run up now. I want to see you as I get out the elevator. Come on. Start with the 911. And then after the
last big shot, get the movie ready.
Right.
After the third last release shot.
Right.
Good morning, each of you. The core issues are simple, but everything else about this case isn't. In a very real sense, this case is about pretense and appearances. The defendant says that Kathleen Peterson's death was caused by a tragic, accidental fall downstairs in their home. And we say, on the other hand, that she died a horrible, painful death at the hands of her husband, Michael Peterson. I've selected a couple of pictures for you that really, in my mind, show this diametric opposition. The first photograph I'm going to show you is of Kathleen. This would have been taken. This is how she would have looked prior to December the 9th of 2001, had you seen her in her home, or possibly at work. You can see from this photograph, you can feel from this photograph that she's a very genteel, warm person. Now, on December the 9th of 2001, at 2:48, when EMS personnel first arrived, they see Kathleen Peterson in a completely different way. They see her lying at the bottom of her steps, just as you see in this photograph. Now, later that day, after her body has been removed from the home, she's taken to the medical examiner's office. This is one of the first photographs taken of her. She's lying on a steel gurney in the medical examiner's office after they've shaved her head so that they can determine where the wounds are. This is where the rubber meets the road, ladies and gentlemen. They say it's an accident that was caused by a couple of falls in that stairway. And we say it's not. We say it's murder. You heard Mr. Rudolph talk with you about the fact that we didn't have a weapon. That's true. We don't have the actual implement that Mike Peterson used to cause this injury, wounding, lacerations to the back of Kathleen's head. But we have an identical replica. Where did we get it? Kathleen's sister Candace gave several family members a blowpoke, just like this one. Kathleen had had this in her home for years and years and years and years. But mysteriously, on December the 9th, it's gone. It's hollow, it's light, it's easily used. And we will contend to you this, or something like this, is the article that was used to inflict these wounds.
The blow poker that had been given to Kathleen 15 years before, apparently, and is now mysteriously missing. We'll hear about whether it's mysterious or not. They didn't find any murder weapon. Nothing was found. Where did it go? Where did this blow poker go? They searched his cars. There wasn't any blood in the cars. They went all around the house. There wasn't any blood upstairs. He didn't change his clothes. He didn't. Where did he get rid of it? And when? That's left mysterious. Well, we don't convict people based on mysterious here. I mean, can you imagine somebody beating somebody over the head, whacking them as hard as they can? Because you don't whack somebody like this when you're trying to kill them. Imagine that there's no skull fracture, there's no brain contusions, there's no swelling of the brain, there's none of the internal hemorrhages, subdurals, things like that you would see from that kind of injury. No, none of that. We intend to show you during this trial, to the best of our ability, what happened in that stairway on December 9th was a tragic accident. An accident that left Michael Peterson, not a wealthy man, but a very poor man, in the thing that was most important to him. It left him without his soulmate. Kathleen and Michael connected in a way that a few people who are really, really lucky in life have a chance to connect. And they built a family, the two of them, built a family out of the strands of their prior families. Todd on the left, Kathleen and Michael, Margaret sort of peeking out from the back there, Caitlin in the front, Clayton and Martha. What kept them together, what caused them to build that, was a love that absolutely everyone who saw them or knew them understood and recognized and envied. Listen to how Caitlin Atwater, who unfortunately now sits on opposite sides, and that's one of the real tragedies of this case. Listen to how she described what Michael Peterson meant to her mother. This is from 1999. Michael Peterson stopped my mother's tears. I used to sit at the top of the stairs, leaning through the banister, and listen to my mother sob every night for a year after my father left. My father had torn her apart, crushing her shell and the illusion in which she lived, destroying her dignity and pride. But Mike was able to restore her strength and confidence, and to show her that she could find true love. From the beginning, I was in debt to Mike in my heart and mind for bringing back my mother's happiness. You know, if the prosecution is correct, how do we go from soulmate and lover to cold-blooded murder? How does that happen? Well, the answer is very simple. You don't. The truth is that Kathleen Peterson, after drinking some wine and some champagne and taking some Valium, tried to walk up a narrow, poorly lit stairway in flip-flops, and she fell and she bled to death. What Michael Peterson brought to Kathleen Peterson was true happiness over 13 years.
That's what they are.
That's the picture. That's not posed. That's Kathleen sitting on Michael's lap. And what you see there is the happiness that she felt with him and that he felt with her. Everyone who really knew that relationship, everyone who knew them, knew that they loved each other. Everyone who knew them knows that Michael Peterson had nothing to do with the death of Kathleen Peterson. And at the end of all the evidence, I'm going to ask the 12 of you to come back and return a verdict that will, in fact, speak the truth in this case. Verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
All right, members of the jury, we're going to take our lunch break at this point. Mr. Deputy, 1:30.
All stand? Yes. County of Darkness and recess until 1:30 this afternoon. Guys, take the time.
Time was 2:40:54 a.m.
Okay, and then can we please go ahead and describe to the jury what you did as it related to callers received at that time?
I answered a call, a 911 call from a man who stated that there was an accident at his house. And I asked him what kind of accident. He said his wife had fallen down some steps. I asked him at that time if she was breathing, and he said yes. I then asked him how many steps she fell down. He said, I don't know. And I asked him again, and he said 15 or 20. And he was doing some crying and stuff in the background. And then I asked him again, sir, is she still breathing? And he said yes, and then he eventually disappeared.
I take it over the course of 5 years, you've answered lots of 911 calls. I've heard lots of different people asking for help. And heard people who call up calm and people who call up excited, everything in between. And the way you described Mr. Peterson on that tape was as hysterical, right?
Very upset.
Well, you actually said hysterical. Indeed, that's what you put on that CAD form.
Yes.
Because that's how he struck you.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
You have no way of knowing whether he was feigning all those actions and voices on his end of the phone call, do you?
No, sir.
All the questions. Dial tone, I think we showed that in the transcript. On 2 occasions, what does that mean?
When the call was terminated,
On which side?
it would be on the caller side.
No, I have no questions.
You gotta choose.
piece I wanted to play at the funeral. It was just a wonderful piece of music. Invitation to the Dance. As if the death wasn't enough. And all the rest of it. But that's when I channel it into other things.
Stretch yourself. You always do everything busy.
Yes. A great deal of selfishness and ego goes away with age. You can't help it. Watch yourself get old and ugly and fat and stupid. The ego declines. It should anyway. And so you worry more about other things, other people. What you like? The dogs.
I'm mostly just worried about how you do. And must be just coping with everything.
I cope pretty well. Where's my lighter? Yeah, well, you haven't got any choice. It's one of those things, and that's what I've always believed. If you can't do anything about it, why worry about it? Which is, pretty much how Kathleen felt. We're trying to get Becky to hey, if you can't do anything, fuck it. Don't worry about it. You can't change anything. It's like worrying about, anything. Gee, when you worry about dying. Well, don't, because you're going to die. So what's the point in, thinking about it? I think I cope pretty well with it.
You'll be alright?
Yes, I'm going to be fine. Jesus. See, the more you worry about me, the more worried I get. Stop it. Let me worry about you.
Situations, the tongue often creates them. The motor mouth is usually causing mayors.
Little tune flow sinister. I'm a finisher. Many men gon' need ministers. I ain't men in them. Enemies, I'm the enema. I'm a
At this point, we move in evidence what's marked as State Secret 4A.
my thoughts are keep confidential. It's consequential. Philosophies unidentical. I'm not India. My Siamese brother.
The victim was dressed in sweats. She had on sweat shirt and sweatpants. I observed that, again, what appeared to be large quantities of blood all over the floor, all over the victim, her hands, feet, her clothing, the walls. There were paper towels around the body, and there was a towel under her head.
What was the condition of the blood on the floor?
It was dry.
Could you tell what the condition of the blood was on the stairs?
It was dry.
What was the condition of the blood on the walls in the stairway, if you could see that?
It appeared to be dry. It appeared to have been either wiped or smeared. The first thing that came to me with the amount of training that I've had is this, from what I observed in the stairwell, this did not appear to be what I would have considered a fall down the steps.
Mr. George, I want you to come down. I don't want you to narrate anything. I just want you to look at the videotape. You actually made the videotape?
Yes, this is a copy of the videotape that I made the evening of the night.
Why would I ever have to cop a chain again when the QB chain birth most the chains in the game? No post office, we stamping time. Took a slice out of the big apple, made apple pies, family size. Leather bombers and Nike Sacai's. Dangerous corn that you better pray that tomorrow arrive. Rap Sugar Ray Robinson, nothing sweet. Y'all too out of shape to even box with me. Heavyweight, I know my way around the ring. Just like Shorty know her way around the storm. Making hits with Hit Boy, all he gotta do is hit record.
talk about that issue a little bit. You have all this testimony from these officers saying that the blood appeared dry. None of them touched the blood themselves. They said it appeared dry. Yet, on cross-examination, they all agreed that they didn't put any of that in their report. Yeah, what we really need, though, in this case are the experts to tell us how long does it take for blood to dry? How long does it take for it to dry on plaster? How long does it take for it to dry on wood? How long does it take for a pool of blood versus a spatter of blood versus a cast-off stain? These are all, okay.
You know, when I look at what we can get out of George, it seems to me that whatever I can do to establish that there have been changes in the scene, wherever they are, changes in blood, changes in things that have blood on them. Once we do that, then it's not a very big jump to the fact that nothing in that stairway can be relied upon. And there's a great quote from Epstein's blood spatter. Actually, it's from the North Carolina Justice Academy blood spatter interpretation manual. It is vital that the crime scene be preserved in absolutely its original condition whenever any bloodstain pattern interpretation is to be done. Even the movement of a single blood-stained object in the scene can significantly affect the interpretation of the spatter patterns. And then I thought I'd get into some of these photos, you know, and that's where we get into
photos where there's differences between what's there, not the direction of blood spatter.
No, not the direction of blood spatter.
Well, we know that it happened. We know the pictures were taken by the 10th. Some of them were taken on the 9th because they actually had the date on them.
Right. So, for example,
We've got the photo next to the oven. There's actually two things changed. When a drop disappears, another drop is added.
Right. You know what I love is that these two pictures don't have any date on them. No. When were these taken? I mean, that's what we'll start with. This is a picture right here of the area by the sink, right? And we go to the next photo. That's a close-up of the same area, is it not? Yes, it is. All right. Now, what we have here is a side-by-side comparison of those two areas. You see that? See that little spot right there? Yes, sir. It's not there, is it? Do you know why?
During our processing, you also notice right in the center of the picture on the right, there's a little stain there also.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And that's missing on there. Right. So on each photo you have a stain that's not on the other photo.
I was explained that when this photo processed that was part of photo glitch there in the center. That was in the processing. Something happened in the processing.
So that's not really a blood stain there.
No, sir, that's it.
How would someone looking at that know that?
They wouldn't.
Did you note it anywhere?
That's,
and that's a glitch too?
I don't really know.
Well, you don't see that?
I did not process those pictures.
Well, how do you know this is a glitch?
I will explain that later.
Who explained it?
I don't really recall to do it right now.
Do you know how many glitches there are in the photos?
No, sir.
Ron found a number of photos where there are really small differences, but very significant differences between two photos taken of the same object by the police at a time when Michael Peterson was in a den somewhere under police watch or else out of the house. Their experts look at things like this, these things with numbers here, and they say, oh, well, you see, that's a skeletonized bloodstain. That means that someone tried to clean up this area. And what happened was the bloodstain was very dry on the outer ring, because that's where it dries first, and much less dry in the middle. And so when someone came through and tried to clean it, all they wiped up was the middle. Well, then when you go back to another photo, and both of these are taken on 12/9, the same day, and you look at these same bloodstains,
got my curly top looking like special ed. Clean fade on the side, bumping that red head. Clean tags when I ride, ducking the feds. East Coast, they get that bread. You you end up dead. The West Coast, they leave that spray. And now you got only your dread head.
If God for me, who could be against me? I guess all of that's against me. They the ones stirring up the conflict. They try to make it out like I'm conflicted.
Still trying to the riches.
East Coast and 6'4's hitting switch. It's not a conflict of interest.
Cut it with the business. West Coast rocking the Timberland. Deep up in the trenches. It's no different. Fourth and inches. Send a hit a lick and handle business. I got it down. Vicious. Rockabye, baby. No witness. This is not even a conflict. You no nonsense. Got the same way in Brooklyn and Compton. But with that gang, make a profit. On top. Stay poppin'. Look. See, I was the high school slick brick, I was styling. Fat gold chains with an African medallion. Hip-hop connoisseur and rolling 20 gripping. Rap game real tight, freestyle was magnificent. All about the clout and all about my dividends. Them older couldn't tell me different. I need a roundaway girl to live with. Showtime at the Apollo. About the motto. Take two and pull out a little for my legs to see me move.
If God for me, who could be against me? I guess all of that's against me. They the ones stirring up the conflict. They try to make it out like I'm conflicted.
All the boys and girls, I got some true stories to tell. They back outside, but they still alive. Whoa, yeah.
Take off the foo-foo, take off the couches, take off the Wi-Fi. Take off the money phone, take off the car loan, take off the flex and the white loss. Take off the weird jewelry, imitate big stuff, then I'm taking off top off. Take off the fabricate streams and the microwave memes, it's a real world outside. Take off your idols, take off the runway, take off the Cairo. Take off the Sandro pay, 5 days stay, take a quarter meal, hella follow. Take off the fuck flag, take off perception, take off the cop with the iPad. Take off the allure, take off the unsure, take off decisions I lack. Take off the fake deep, take off the fake woke, take off the I'm broke, I care. Take off the gossip, take off the new logic, that if I'm rich, I'm real. Take off the should know, take off the doje, take off the Birkin bag. Take all that designer off and what do you have?
You ugly, you out of pocket. 2 ATMs, you stepping to what? You out of pocket. Who you think they talk about us? You out of pocket. Who you think they carry out for us? The world in a panic, the women is stranded, the men on the run. The profits are vanished, the law take advantage, the market is crashing, the industry wants to sleep in the box while they making a mockery following us. This ain't monopoly, watching for love. This ain't monogamy, y'all getting jumping on what the hell is that? I gotta relax when I feel. All my descendants, they come in my sleep and say I am too real. I'm done with the sensitive, taking it personal, done with the black and the white, the wrong and the right. You hoping for change and miracles, I know the feelings that came with burial cries. You ugly, you out of pocket. 2 ATMs, you stepping to what? You out of pocket. Who you think they talk about us? You out of pocket. Who you think they carry out for us? Serving up a look, dancing in a drop. Hello to the big step, but never lose a count. Venting in the safe house, venting in the safe. Can I fit on my truth? I got nothing to lose. I got problems and fools. I can swim with my fate. Cameras moving whenever I'm moving. The family suing whatever I make. Murder is stacking. The president acting. The government taxing my funds in the bank. Homies ejecting the fence when I'm wrecking. Look at my reaction. My pupils on skates. Holla, holla. Let's think about this for a second. Tell me what you would do for status. When you show your show, no credit. When you show your bro for leverage. What a hypocrite said. What community feel they the only ones relevant? What a hypocrite said. What community feel they the only ones relevant? You out of pocket, yeah, you out of pocket. You entertain the mediocre, need to stop it. You entertaining old friends when they toxic. What your life like? You gossip. What the is council culture, dog? Say what I want about you. I'm like overdog. I treat you like I'm Jigga. Watch I own it all. Oh, you worry about a critic? That ain't protocol.
field with the place, y'all mad. It's a many given Sunday magic. Ice skin, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the place, y'all mad. It's a many given Sunday magic. Round of applause and you go, that's it. Damn, that's a bomb with a flick on my wrist. Jersey on my chest, that's a team that I rep. Came in as a rookie, now I'm ballin' like a vet. If you talking crazy, better say it with your chest. Hit him with the right, then I hit him with the left. Then the juke move, Heisman, stiff arm, lights out, you snooze. Lights came, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the place, y'all mad. It's a many given Sunday magic. Lights came, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the place, y'all mad. It's a many given Sunday magic. It is not a game, it is not a game. Banging on your chest when I come through the pain. Never been about the money or the fame. But when it bring both, so here we go again. Wins on the road, yeah, I got those. Couple records that I hold, yeah, I got those. It's the playoffs, the team just got home. We ain't going outside when it matter most. Lights came, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the place, y'all mad. It's a many given Sunday magic. Lights came, prime time action. Run it up, touchdown, I'm snapping. In the field with the place, y'all mad. It's a many given Sunday magic.
Me and my boys make major moves. Still the same ones that I came with. Up in a payment. Told you we nothing to play with. Guess some things unchangeable. Me and my thirst insatiable. Till we all big time. Face on my rollie on big time. Facing my goals, that's a big climb. Still my flow is unshakable. Run it up. I cannot quit it. I need it. I ain't where I wanna be. I can admit it. Never submitting. I'm fighting my darkest of thoughts. I am a force. I harbor the light that's inside of my heart. I write in my art and give you my story. You the witness. I came on a mission to give you my pain and give you my glory. This time I'm on the grind. Oh, I'm shining. Nothing can stop me. All these years, blood, sweat, and tears, but I'm still here. Nothing can stop me. Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me. Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me. I overcame all the odds. I ain't been playing it safe, nah. I was just giving my all. I'm taking it there. Hop in the race and we lay in the stars. I made it happen to boss, yeah. I was just playing my cards. I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there. It's gonna be a riot, doubt me it's quiet. I got the can of gas, I'm about to ignite. I am driven, I won't ever get tired. Cause I've been left behind, I have to get right. Waiting on the sign, now I just wait on myself. Got nothing weighing on the mind. One thing I learned after all this time, the mountain you carry meant for you to climb. All this time, I'm on the grind. Oh, I'm shining, nothing can stop me. All these years, blood, sweat, and tears, but I'm still here. Nothing can stop me. Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me. Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me.
I'm Gonzo. Got your best friend hanging out the arm though. Got game like I'm dropping me a console. No, I don't swim, but I give a now next. While you dare look in the best, feel to get up in your chest. While I soak up my success, getting tokens for your dress. I be making all the checks anytime you see me step on the stage. Acting real soft like my skin coming beige. Step out and with him, girl, you
living so cold. Feel it in your bones. You ain't gonna feel it till I'm gone. Caught up in your feelings, now you froze. And everything around you getting cold. The chill is in my bones. Caught up in my feelings, now I'm froze. I don't really feel it till you gone. And everything around me getting. I'm gone, yo. Headed where the homie live, cause it's on, yo. I was chasing 3 women like I'm Mojo Jojo. So my girl got mad and she my bro. Mama, girl, you're wrong, though. That's against a bro code. Headed to his home, though. No, we living solo. Vertebrae. I just broke into his place. This shit in his face, yeah. Then I say it's evidence. You entertain my loyalty to infiltrate. The only woman that I claim to risk your life to get some strange. All my anger is a vein. You didn't know that I'm a saint. I will blow your up. Then I again. Gone. Feel it in your bones. You ain't gonna feel it till I'm gone. Caught up in your feelings, now you froze. And everything around you getting cold. The chill is in my bones. Caught up in my feelings, now I'm froze. I don't really feel it till you gone. And everything around me getting cold.
My God, oh God, this is Son of God level. The sun, the sky, you can see the vibe. We ride the